This next tactic is called trapping. And you look for pieces whose mobility has been compromised, and as they move away from the center, they have fewer squares, and that gives you the opportunity to try and trap them, especially in situations between bishops and knights, where the bishop can corral the knight, so to speak. And if you notice here that the white knight can't go to this square because this bishop is guarding all the dark squares on that diagonal. So the knight can't go here or here. It can only move here. The king is guarding this square. So in one move, the bishop slides here and prevents the knight from escaping to this square. And then the trick is to simply march the king up and attack the knight. So whatever white tries to do, the knight can't run. That's the problem. So the king slides up, and on the next move, he will capture the knight. Now let's look at another example that has occurred in many games. There are all sorts of ways of trapping pieces, and in this example, in this setup, it's white to move, and if you look at the black bishop here, he can escape along this diagonal, and in one move, white can simply block his retreating squares, and on the next move, whatever black tries, let's say he tries to slide in quickly to maybe help the bishop, he's a little too late, so he pushes here, and now the white king is able to capture the bishop. And this scenario happens in games. In fact, Bobby Fischer lost, I believe it was the first game of his World Championship match many years ago. So you have to look out for this in your games, look for opportunities, and be careful about not having your bishop trapped by pawns. Now I'm going to give you a third example here. Let me set up the board. Don't forget that the king is also a fighter, especially in endgames when there are a few pieces on the board to attack him. He can come out and start flexing his muscles. And in this scenario, he notices that the white knight is a bit compromised. The knight can't move to this square or this square, which are guarded by this pawn. And so he can start marching towards the knight. He sees that only this square, the knight can escape to this square, but it's black's turn to move. And so the king slides in, stopping the knight from running to this square. And this square is also protected by the king. So whatever white tries to do, in one more move, the king can, in two moves rather, he'll attack and capture the knight. All pieces can be trapped, so you look for situations where they start getting cramped and then try and figure out ways that you might be able to trap them. So be careful for this in your games and look for opportunities to do it to your opponent. Now proceed to tactic number 12, called the sacrifice, which is the last tactic in this series and actually all of the chess tactics.